What's going on, YouTube? Thomas Ella here. Since James McAvoy is returning for the new for the Split sequel, Glass, which opens Friday, I decided to do my top 10 favorite James McAvoy movies because over the years he's been in some pretty decent stuff. So that being said, here's my 10 favorite McAvoy movies. Coming in at number 10 is the Christmas animated movie After Christmas. I really love this movie. I thought it was really cute. It was charming. Really dug the animation in it. This is probably one of the most underrated Christmas movies that came out, in recent years. In it, James McAvoy plays voices the character of Arthur, who's the youngest son of Santa Claus. And so, he has to go and deliver presents, for Santa. I thought this movie is a really fun gem. James McAvoy does a really good job at voicing the role. And this movie got released in 2011, and sad it doesn't really get talked about as much because it was really good when it got released. I mean, besides James McAvoy, it also features the voice talents of Bill Nye, Jim Broadbent, Hugh Laurie was in this. Good voice cast. I mean, if you guys never seen After Christmas by now, do yourself a favor and give this one a go. I think you'll enjoy it. Coming in at number 9 will be X-Men Apocalypse. Now, this one might actually be a little controversial because lots of people do not like this one at all. But I thought Apocalypse was decent. It did have lots of problems and all, but I still sort of had fun with it. James McAvoy was once again good at playing Professor X. Of course, you had Oscar Isaac as the role of Apocalypse. Of course, you had Michael Fassbender as Magneto. Of course, you had the Four Horsemen in this. I mean, it was, of course, directed by Bryan Singer, who does a really good job with the X-Men films. And yeah, I mean, Apocalypse isn't like a great film by any means. Like I said, it has some problems, but overall, I still sort of enjoyed it. And of course, I cannot wait for the next X-Men film to come out. All right, coming in at number 8 is Atonement. Now, this was, of course, a period movie that starred McAvoy with Keira Knightley. You also had a young Saoirse Ronan in this, way before she became a star. It was directed by Joe Wright, who also directed stuff like Darkest Hour, Pen, a few other good stuff. And in it, the film is based on a book by Ian McEwan, and follows the lives of young lovers played by Keira Knightley and James McAvoy. And when the couple are torn apart by a lie of construction by Cecilia's jealous younger sister, Brony, played by Saoirse, all three of them must deal with the consequences. Of course, this even takes place during World War II. It even scored an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. I mean, I thought the chemistry between both McAvoy and Knightley was really good. This is probably one of my favorite period pieces movies that came out in years. It's a really good one. And Joe Wright, he does great when it comes to period pieces movies. If you guys never seen Atonement, this is another McAvoy movie worth checking out. Coming in at number 7 is Atomic Blonde. Now, this movie got released in 2007 and, starred Charlize Theron and was directed by David Leitch, who, recently put out Deadpool 2. This is really loads of fun. James McAvoy, I thought he was really good in his part. Charlize Theron was awesome. Of course, you had Sophia Boutella in this. John Goodman. Bill Skarsgård was even in this. It also had some really cool action sequences. And I also really like the chemistry between Charlize Theron and James McAvoy. Their chemistry, I thought, worked really well on this movie. And too bad, too bad the film didn't do all that well, because I'll love to see another one. Because Atomic Blonde was loads of fun. Coming in at number 6 is the film Starter for 10. Now this, I haven't seen this movie for a while, but I remember really digging it when I first saw it. It had some really good like up and comer stars that became bigger now. Like besides McAvoy, it also had people like Rebecca Hall, Benedict Cumberbatch, Alice Eve, Dominic Cooper, James Corden, way before James Corden became a talk show host. This movie I really enjoyed. I mean, the ensemble in this is really cool. And in it, James McAvoy plays the role of Brian Jackson, who's a working class youth who, gets the chance to prove himself when he is accepted to respected Bristol University. And, he navigates his way through his first year there. And, he also finds romance with two pretty students played by Alice Eve and Rebecca Hall. And there's like, a few other characters that's featured in this. James Corden, I mean, I really like James Corden in this. This movie got released in, when did this get released again? Yeah, it got released in 2006. And man, lots of people in this movie who end up becoming, bigger stars now. I mean, heck, James Corden, of course, now he has a talk show. I mean, this was like his first, major, like his first major gig. And since, of course, Star for 10, James Corden, like I said, had the talk show and on. And I mean, this movie was really good. It was, I guess you could say, it was like, a comedy at times. It was drama. Really good little film. And like I said, the cast was really good. So if you guys never seen Starter for 10, do yourself a favor and give that one a go. I think you'll enjoy it. Coming in at number 5 is X-Men First Class. Now, this was directed by Matthew Vaughn, and this was, of course, the first installment of the recent X-Men trilogy that featured McAvoy as Professor X. You had Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, Michael Fassbender as Magneto, Nicholas Hoult was in this. Kevin Bacon played the villain. You had January Jones in this. I really dug First Class. Matthew Vaughn, he really did a good job at bringing the new X-Men characters together. And of course, I really dug Wolverine's cameo in this. Yeah, I mean, McAvoy, like I said, I think he was born to play the role of Professor X because, he plays that role really perfectly. All right, coming in at number 4 is Chronicles of Narnia. Now, James McAvoy's character isn't like that big in this or anything. To be honest, I literally always keep forgetting James McAvoy was in this. But he plays the role of Mr. Thomas. Thomas, I always mispronounce the character's name, but he's like half goat, half man. I really liked him as that role, but like I said, I always keep forgetting that half man and half goat character was James McAvoy. I mean, probably because it does like the movie got released in 2005, and James McAvoy was pretty young back in the days. I mean, this movie actually came out a year before Starter for 10, and Chronicles of Narnia, which is of course The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, is really fantastic. Such a good fantasy film. It has good visual effects. Of course, you had Liam Neeson as Aslan the Lion. Yeah, I mean, this movie was really good. But although, too bad James McAvoy never reprised his role again in the sequels, because I mean, I really dug the characters, roles they had in the film. But anyway, coming in at number 3 is Wanted. Wanted is loads of fun. James McAvoy, I thought was really good here. You had Angelina Jolie as I should say, a hit woman. Morgan Freeman, you had in this. Common. This is a really fun film, and James McAvoy's character is pretty cool. I mean, I really dug his interaction with Angelina Jolie. Oh, and not to mention, you had Chris Pratt in here way before he did Guardians. So there's a little tidbit for you there. Too bad we never got around to see a sequel to this, because I would have loved to have seen another Wanted. Because the first one is a really fun gem of mine. All right, now coming in at number 2 for my favorite James McAvoy movie is Split. Now, this is probably one of his best performances he's given. I mean, James McAvoy plays a guy with different personalities, and man, this is a different role you've never seen James McAvoy as. I mean, M. Night Shyamalan, I thought he did a perfect job at directing James McAvoy in this. And I gotta say, I think there's an argument to be made that James McAvoy should have been nominated for an Oscar for this. I mean, the movie got released a little too early on, so I guess that kind of hurt McAvoy's chances. But I mean, McAvoy, it's definitely the best performance he's ever given. And I cannot wait to see him back as the role again in Glass, which, like I said, comes out Friday. Cannot wait for that. But yeah, I mean, if you guys never seen Split by now, do yourself a favor and watch Split. It's a really good gem. All right, now my number 1 favorite James McAvoy movie is the second X-Men film, and no, not X2, but that is X-Men: Days of Future Past. I mean, this is the one that has Peter Dinklage as a villain. It was, of course, directed by Bryan Singer. Now, this was Bryan Singer's first X-Men directing film since X2, I believe. I mean, it was pretty cool to see Bryan Singer get back into the X-Men director's chair. I mean, this is I guess you could say this is like the Citizen Kane of X-Men movies. It's really amazing. James McAvoy, once again, as Professor X, was fantastic. Michael Fassbender. Yeah, I mean, X-Men Days of Future Past, got released in 2014, and I'll still watch it whenever I get a chance to, because it's really good. And like I said, I cannot wait to see McAvoy back as Professor X in Apocalypse, which I'm pretty sure probably going to be his final role as Professor X, because I don't know what Disney is going to do with the X-Men movies after Apocalypse, to be honest with you. But we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Number 10, After Christmas. 9, X-Men Apocalypse. 8, Atonement. 7, Atomic Blonde. 6, Starter for 10. 5, X-Men First Class. 4, Chronicles of Narnia. 3, Wanted. 2, Split. 1, X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, if James McAvoy been in other stuff, I could have added, like, pull up his credit list. He was there both Romeo and Juliet and Sherlock Gnomes, which were both just awful. He was good in The Last King of Scotland with Forrest Whitaker. Filth was pretty decent. Vanellope, the one they did with Christina Ricci was alright. He just did this movie called Submergent with Alicia Vikander. I just saw that recently. That was terrible. Victor Frankenstein wasn't all half bad. Not great, but it's definitely much better than I expected it to be. He was in Muppets Most Wanted. Cannot wait to see him in It Chapter 2, by the way. That's going to be really cool. The Last Station was really good. I mean, yeah, James McAvoy has been in a lot of stuff. Oh, yeah, he was also in the British version of Shameless. I think he played Jimmy, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me leave to you guys. What are some of your favorite James McAvoy movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Thomas L. signing off.